Chinda Ella's Udara carriage was like 15 minutes away from the villa when in the ballroom, the president Abubaku looked at his watch. The party had been on for a little over an hour. In 20 minutes, he would signal the chief of staff, who would signal one of the undercover security men, who would signal one of the waiters standing by the door that dinner was ready. But before that happens, let's slide over to the other side of the huge ballroom where the young Obong Chukwudi Ogenekere Pepo is standing, surrounded by a bevy of Brazilian, Peruvian, and Chinese-haired beauties whose ages ranged from 18 to ancient. There were even a few children in their midst who had been smuggled in by their avaricious parents and were camouflaging as adults. They were all trying to get and keep the prince's attention. Shakiti Bobo boomed from several speakers, discreetly concealed behind curtains that ran from the high ceiling to the floor. So, you are the Amayarabo, the heir to the presidential throne, said Dorosilla, Cindy's stepsister. Is it that obvious? Was the sardonic reply from the bored prince. The girl tittered and giggled and said, "Oh my gosh, you're so funny, LOL." Obong Chukwudi stared at her for 1 second and shook his head in disgust. The other women laughed. What else could be expected from a girl whose Instagram handle was always pretty sexy girl? "You're so handsome. I'm sure you have like many girlfriends, right?" Another girl asked. The prince ignored her. "I heard you have a power bike. I've got one too. Maybe we can race each other one of these days," another woman remarked. The prince looked up at the speaker, a striking young woman of indeterminate age, the kind that was EYY, every year young. Her round ogbolo eyes were surrounded by a light fringe of dark, expensive Peruvian eyelashes. Her lips were painted an oxblood red, courtesy of a very costly Luby Wood lipstick in matte. Her flat nose said she was of African origin, but her complexion told another story. Unknown to those who were standing around, the lady before them had once won Miss Ebony in a beauty pageant back when she was in the university, but she was now quite whitenicious. "Yeah, I own several power bikes," said Chukwudi. "I wouldn't mind a race." His eyes ran from her head to her toes, and he felt a frisson of attraction. "What's your name?" he asked. "Olivia Darkwak, Your Highness." The other women began to shoot daggers at Olivia left, right, and center. Unnoticed in the group, one of the younger women felt surreptitiously around her hip, touched the tiny wrap of love potion hidden in the waistband of her G-string, and whispered a few words. Then, taking a deep breath, she wiggled close to the Obong, tugged his arm, and said, "Let's dance." "No, thank you." The young woman reared back in flabbergastment. "Hell," she thought. "It's like this Kopnomi is not working." Oh. She pressed the wrap at her waist a second time, carefully murmured the necessary words, and tried again. This time, the man said a loud "No." "Shio?" Now frantic, she pressed and pressed the pouch. The prince noticed her actions and nodded to two undercover Secret Service men. They shouldered their way to her and jacked her up like a feather. As they carted her away, she noticed they were wearing the X-Prevent 500 bodysuits, the latest love potion blocking device. At that point, it became clear to her that the Obong was wearing one as well. Let's keep the part where everyone in the room laughed as the girl was hefted out of the hall. Did she not know that all measures were being taken to ensure that Ogenekere did not make a wrong choice? 1 or 2, 3, 4, okay. More like 40, 50 of the women suddenly had a need to visit the restroom. Soon, the toilets were nearly blocked as each woman feigned urination while secretly flushing down wraps and vials of love potions. Food is ready, oh! The loud voice of the villa's valet suddenly boomed in the wide doorway. Everyone made their way to the dining room where the food was served buffet style. The women jostled each other, trying to be near the prince. And outside, Chinda Ella's carriage suddenly rolled to a stop. And that's it. So I don't want to read everything. If you want to know how the story goes, please go and get yourself a copy of Chinda Ella by Eketi Edimaete. It is a parody of the Disney classic Cinderella. I promise you, I'm guaranteeing it. You're totally going to enjoy this book. And if you don't, money back guarantee. You get back your money. But I promise, when you finish reading it, you are going to call me and say, Eketi, please, I want to pay you double for this book because it's very, very sweet. So, Chinda Ella by Eketi Edimaete. Bye.